if the oxidative stress is really bad, and it can cause damage to mitochondria, and that will lead to apoptosis or necrosis. So to summarize our DEP study, we found organic DEP chemicals induces adverse biological effects through the generation of stratified oxidative stress response. And but we need to do something more related to the real world. So we asked the question, which particle type in the ambient air is most dangerous and why? Everybody knows, like, the ambient particles can be divided into 3 different types: PM10, PM2.5, and the ultrafine particles, which has a dynamic diameter of less than 0.1 micron. Here is the PM2.5 particles. I don't think I have to say anything about this. This is currently regulated by EPA. And next one is the ultrafine particles. The ultrafine particles are, the major source for ultrafine particles are the diesel exhaust particles and car emissions and condensation of vapors, and these particles are not regulated. And there are 4 major characteristics of harmful inhaled particles. First, they are very small. And the second, because they are small, they have a large surface area. And because of their small size, they can be easily taken up by the cells. And also, because of their large surface area, they can carry a lot of toxic chemicals. And so in this study, we compared the oxidant potential and also the organic chemical content of coarse, fine, and ultrafine particles. And we collected these particles in Claremont and USC. USC is located in downtown Los Angeles. And you can see consistently ultrafine particles has a stronger oxidant potential. That's the bar graph on the left side. On the upper right side is the pH content of 3 different types of particles. Again, the ultrafine particles have a higher pH content than the coarse and fine particles. And then we plot a graph to calculate the correlation between the oxidant potential, which was determined by the DTT assay, and the pH content. There is a good correlation. The little insert showed that it's the same actually correlation. We just removed that outlier point in the big graph. Because now we can see the difference among 3 different types of sizes of particles. So we look at whether they are different in terms of their cellular effects. So these cells, we have the panel on the left. We have these mouse macrophage cells. And the top 2, the pictures in the left column are at lower magnification. The pictures in the right column are at higher magnification. And you can see in the control cells, the cells look very nice and beautiful, and you can see the mitochondria on the upper right side. And the mitochondria look nice and has a beautiful cristae. And when these cells are treated with coarse particles, the coarse particles stay inside cells in a big vacuum. Again, still you can see the mitochondria, intact mitochondria. So when we treated the cells with fine particles, now you can see that's the 3rd picture from the top on the right. Some particles start to enter the mitochondria, but they did not cause complete damage. You can still see some mitochondrial structures. But when we treated cells with ultrafine particles, that's the bottom two pictures. On the right side, you can see the mitochondria just became like a holes. There's all the structures are gone. And these are in the macrophages. And we also look at the damage of these particles to the human bronchial epithelial cells. That's the three pictures on the right. And the picture A is the control cells. The cell look nice and normal. The picture in the middle is from the cells treated with ultrafine particles. And the picture on the right is from the same cell, but we enlarge that area. Again, you can see a massive damage to mitochondrial structure. We also have a special mouse strain, and this mouse strain has this HO1. As I mentioned earlier, HO1 is a very sensitive marker to oxidative stress. And this HO1 gene is linked to a luciferase reporter gene. So what will happen is when there's oxidative stress, when HO1 is activated, and we can give animals some luciferin, and then like in the organ or tissue where HO1 is expressed, when we do the imaging, the organ or tissue will light up. So these three animals were treated with filtered air or fine particles or ultrafine particles. And you can see the animals treated with ultrafine particles, they have the lungs and kidney light up, indicating the expression of heme oxygenase 1 and the presence of oxidative stress. So summary of particle size, our particle size comparison study. Ultrafine particles are more dangerous than coarse and fine particles due to their ability to carry more pro-oxidative organic chemicals and the stronger oxidant potential. And all these things are at the cellular level. So our next question is, how do ambient particles impact allergic airway inflammation, such as asthma? So we want to take it to the in vivo level, to the animal model. Actually, a lot of people have done animal studies using diesel exhaust particles as a model pollutant. And it has been reported that the DEP can affect just about every step of allergic inflammation. Allergic inflammation normally start with initial exposure to an allergen, and that will lead to allergic sensitization. And upon secondary allergen challenge, there will be a very strong and secondary immune response and very fast response too. And also in the asthmatic people, they'll also have wheezing. So the studies have shown that DEP can affect every step, can act as adjuvant to enhance allergic sensitization or increase airway inflammation or just increase airway reactivity. And Dr. David Diaz-Sanchez did a study in humans. He gave ragweed sensitive people intranasally with some ragweed plus minus DEP, and then he measured this allergen-specific antibody production in these people, and you can see the DEP significantly increased IgE production compared to ragweed only. Although there are a lot of in vivo studies were done previously, but there's certain drawbacks. One of the problem was like the DEP, the particles were used at a very high dose. Normally it's minimum 50 micrograms, sometimes it's up to 150 microgram per installation, and a lot of